If a woman truly wants you, she rarely says it, not because she doesn't feel it. She feels it deeply, but because saying it gives away power. And women protect emotional power. It's one of the most instinctive things we do. We guard what we feel, especially when what we feel is real. Pause. So instead of confessing, she shows it. Quietly, carefully, deliberately. But only if you know what to look for. Most men don't. Most men are waiting for words. They're waiting for her to say something obvious, something direct, something that removes all doubt. But that's not how women operate. That's not how attraction moves through a woman's body and mind. She doesn't announce it. She reveals it. In small shifts, in quiet choices, in moments most men overlook completely, and by the time he realizes she was interested, she's already pulled away. Not because she lost interest, but because he never responded to what she was already giving him. In this video, I'll explain the silent signs she gives when she wants you, but refuses to say it. And more importantly, I'll explain why she refuses. Because once you understand the why, the signs become impossible to miss. Let's get into it. There's a truth about women that most people never talk about openly. Attraction for a woman is emotional before it is verbal, always. She feels it in her chest before she processes it in her mind. She senses it in her body before she finds the language for it. And that's the part most men miss entirely. They think attraction is a decision, something she weighs logically, something she arrives at after careful thought. It's not. It begins in her nervous system. Something about the way you speak, the way you pause, the way you hold space without filling it with noise. Something about your energy triggers a shift inside her. And that shift is quiet. It doesn't come with fireworks. It doesn't come with dramatic declarations. It comes with stillness. She becomes slightly more aware of you. Her breathing changes when you walk into a room. Her posture adjusts, even if she doesn't realize it. She starts tracking you with the corner of her attention, not staring, not chasing, just noticing. And that noticing is the first signal. But here's where it gets complicated. Even when she feels it clearly, she won't say it clearly. Not yet. Maybe not ever, unless the conditions are right. Because women are raised in a world that punishes them for being too forward, too eager, too emotionally honest too soon. A woman who expresses desire before she feels emotionally safe risks being seen as desperate, as too available, as easy. And that fear lives deep. It's not something she chooses consciously. It's something she learned from watching other women, from social consequences she observed in silence, from emotional experiences that taught her one thing: protect your vulnerability until you know it will be honored. So she signals instead. She signals before she speaks, and the signals are layered. Some are conscious. She knows exactly what she's doing when she finds a reason to sit closer to you, when she laughs a little longer than necessary at something you said, when she touches her hair while holding your gaze. But some signals are unconscious, deeper, harder to fake. Her voice drops slightly, not louder, not more dramatic, softer, more intimate, like she's speaking only to you even in a crowded room. Her body leans in, not dramatically, just a few inches, just enough to close the invisible distance between you. Her questions shift. She stops asking surface things. She starts asking about your thoughts, your past, your patterns. She's not making conversation anymore. She's gathering information. She's trying to understand you. And when a woman is trying to understand you, really understand you, something has already moved inside her. She's already considering you, not as entertainment, not as a distraction, as a possibility. And that's the moment most men fumble, because they sense something is happening. But they don't trust the silence. They want confirmation. They want her to say it. They want certainty. So they push. They ask too soon. They confess too early. They try to define it before she's ready. And the moment they do that, they break the tension. The beautiful, magnetic, quiet tension that was building naturally. She was leaning in, and he rushed the moment. She was opening, and he demanded proof. That's the mistake. Attraction doesn't need to be spoken to be real. In fact, the moment before it's spoken is often when it's most powerful. That space between knowing and saying. That's where desire lives. And women understand this instinctively. They live in that space far more comfortably than most men. So here's what I want you to understand before we go further. When she stops chasing attention and starts watching you quietly, something has changed. She creates proximity. That's the first sign, and it's one of the most reliable. When a woman wants you, she finds reasons to be near you. Not dramatic reasons, not obvious ones. Quiet reasons, subtle ones. She shows up where you are. She lingers a little longer than she needs to. She doesn't rush to leave when the conversation pauses. Most men think proximity is accidental. It almost never is. A woman who is not interested creates distance. Naturally, effortlessly. She finds exits. She keeps conversations short. She positions herself across the room without even thinking about it. But a woman who wants you does the opposite. She gravitates. She doesn't announce it. She doesn't walk up to you and say, "I want to be near you." She just is. She's standing a little closer than necessary. She's choosing the seat beside you when there are other options. She's walking your direction when she could go any other way. And here's what's happening beneath the surface. Her nervous system feels safe around you. That's what proximity really means. It's not just physical closeness. It's emotional permission. Her body is telling her, this person doesn't feel like a threat. This person feels calm, regulated, steady. And when a woman's nervous system registers safety, she moves closer, instinctively, without a plan, without a script. She just drifts toward you. That's the body speaking before the mouth ever opens. Pay attention to it. The second sign is emotional investment. This one is deeper and harder to fake. When a woman starts investing emotionally, she's no longer just talking to you. She's attaching to you. You'll notice the shift in her questions. She stops asking what you do for work and starts asking why you chose it. She stops asking about your weekend and starts asking about your childhood. She stops making small talk and starts making real talk. She asks things she doesn't ask other people, and she remembers what you tell her. That's the part most men overlook. She remembers the small things, the name of your dog, the song you mentioned once in passing, the fact that you don't like crowded places. She holds those details carefully, not because she's taking notes, but because her mind is already treating you as someone who matters. When a woman remembers what you say, the little things, the throwaway things, she is not just listening. She is storing you. She is building an emotional file of who you are. That is attachment forming in real time. She's not just talking, she's investing. An investment is the deepest form of interest a woman can show you without ever using the word want. The third sign is one that confuses most men. She tests your stability. She pulls back slightly, not because she lost interest, but because she needs to see what happens when she does. This is not a game. I know it looks like one, but it's not. It's survival. Women test emotional stability because emotional stability is the one thing that determines whether she's safe with you long term. She needs to know, if I go quiet for a day, will he spiral? Will he flood my phone with messages? Will he become passive-aggressive? Will he punish me for not being available? Or will he stay calm? Will he remain grounded? Will he hold his center without needing me to constantly reassure him? That's what she's watching for. And if you stay calm, something remarkable happens. Her attraction increases, not because you played it cool, but because your emotional regulation told her nervous system something words never could. It told her, this man is safe to feel things around. This man won't collapse if I have a hard day. This man won't make my emotions about him. That's what stability communicates, and women are reading it constantly. The fourth sign is the most beautiful one. She softens around you. Her voice changes. It becomes warmer, lower, more relaxed. Her body loosens, her shoulders drop, her posture opens. She stops holding herself tightly. Her eye contact lingers, not staring, not performing, just resting on you, comfortably, like looking at you feels good and she's not in a hurry to stop. And then the playful teasing appears. She pokes at you gently. She gives you a hard time about something small. She laughs at things that aren't even that funny, not because she's faking, but because her guard is down and everything feels lighter when you're around. These are unconscious signals. She's not choosing to soften, her body is doing it for her. Tell me honestly, have you ever felt a woman was into you, but she never admitted it? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear your story, because what I'm about to explain next is why she holds it back. even when it's obvious, even when you both know. She still won't say it, and the reason is more layered than most people realize. She won't say it because saying it costs something, and the cost is emotional exposure. When a woman admits she wants you, out loud, clearly, directly, she's handing you something fragile. She is placing her dignity in your hands, and she has no guarantee you will hold it gently. That's the fear, not fear of the words themselves, fear of what happens after the words leave her mouth. Will you take her seriously? Will you respect what she just gave you? Will you meet her where she is, or will you pull back? Change the energy. Use it against her. Treat her certainty as something you now have power over. Women have learned, many of them the hard way, that emotional honesty is not always rewarded. Sometimes it's punished. Sometimes she told a man how she felt, and he used it as leverage. Became less attentive because he knew she wasn't going anywhere. Stopped trying because her confession made him feel too comfortable, too secure, too certain he didn't need to keep showing up. That experience leaves a mark, and it teaches her something she never forgets. Don't give it all away. Not because she's manipulative, but because she's protecting the most tender part of herself, her emotional honesty. There's another layer to this that goes even deeper. She wants to feel chosen, not desperate. If she says it first, if she's the one to break the silence and lay her feelings bare, she risks creating an emotional imbalance. She risks becoming the one who cares more, the one who's more invested, the one who put herself out there while he stayed safe behind his silence. And that imbalance doesn't just feel uncomfortable, it feels dangerous. Because when a woman is the one who cares more visibly, she often becomes the one who gets taken for granted. She becomes the one who adjusts, who accommodates, who makes herself smaller to keep the peace. And most women, the ones who've been through it, know exactly how that story ends. So she waits, she signals, she shows, she opens doors, but she waits for you to walk through them. Not because she's passive, but because she needs to know you're choosing her, not just responding to her choice. There's a massive difference between a man who says, "I want you" because she said it first, and a man who says, "I want you" because he arrived there on his own. Women feel that difference in their bones, and it changes everything about how safe the relationship feels going forward. Now here's where most men go wrong. They sense something building. They feel the energy shifting. They notice her softening, leaning in, investing, and instead of letting it unfold, they grab at it. They ask the question too soon, "Do you like me? What are we? Where is this going?" And the moment that question lands, something breaks. Not because it was a bad question, but because the timing was wrong. She wasn't ready to answer. She was still feeling her way through it. She was still in the space between knowing and trusting, between wanting and deciding. And when you rush that space, you collapse it. You take something that was growing quietly and beautifully, and you force it into a box before it's ready. She feels that pressure, and her nervous system responds to it. Not with openness, with contraction. She pulls back, not because she doesn't want you, but because she doesn't feel safe being honest yet, and your urgency just confirmed that you need certainty more than you respect her process. That's what kills attraction. Not distance, not silence, not mystery. Pressure. Pressure is the enemy of female desire. When you pressure a woman for a verbal confirmation, you are asking her to abandon her own timeline, to skip the part where she feels safe enough to speak. And no woman, no emotionally intelligent woman, will do that. She'll shut down. She'll go vague. She'll say something non-committal, not because she doesn't feel it, but because your pressure made the truth feel unsafe. And when truth feels unsafe, silence becomes her only option. So the mistake isn't missing the signs. The mistake is seeing the signs and demanding she explain them before she's ready. You don't need her to say it. You need to see it. You need to trust what her behavior is already telling you, because behavior is the most honest language a woman speaks. And if you learn to read it, really read it, you'll never need to ask the question again. The answer is already there, in the way she shows up, in the way she stays, in the way she softens when you're near. She is already telling you everything. So how do you handle it correctly? You don't rush. You don't label it. You don't chase confirmation. You observe. That's it. That's the answer most men don't want to hear because it requires patience. It requires emotional maturity. It requires sitting in uncertainty without crumbling. But that's exactly what separates the man she opens up to from the man she quietly walks away from. The man she opens up to doesn't need her to say it before he can feel it. He reads the room. He reads her. He notices the way she leans in when he talks, the way her energy shifts when he enters a space, the way she laughs a little differently around him. He notices, and he doesn't grab. He lets it breathe. He lets her come to it on her own terms, at her own pace, in her own language, and that patience, that stillness, that refusal to force something that's already growing, that is the most attractive thing a man can do, because it tells her nervous system one critical thing. He doesn't need me to prove anything. He already sees it, and when a woman feels seen without being pressured to perform, she opens in ways she didn't even know she could. She starts to trust her own feelings because she's not being rushed to justify them. She starts to relax into the connection because nobody is demanding she define it before she's ready. She starts to feel something rare, something most men never give her: emotional space. Space to want you without having to announce it. Space to fall without being asked to explain the fall. Space to choose you quietly, slowly, fully, on her timeline, not yours. That space is everything, and the men who offer it are the men women eventually speak the truth to. So what actually makes her say it? Your emotional steadiness. When she sees that your mood doesn't shift based on her availability. When she watches you handle stress without unraveling. When she notices you staying grounded even when things are uncertain between you. That steadiness creates something inside her. Trust. Not trust in you as a concept. Trust in you as a lived experience. She's not trusting your words. She's trusting your pattern. And when the pattern holds, when you stay consistent, when your energy doesn't swing wildly, when you remain the same man on a good day and a hard day, something unlocks in her. She stops protecting herself from you. That's the moment. That's when the walls come down. Not because you demanded it, not because you cornered her with questions, but because your consistency made her feel safe enough to be honest. Your calm confidence matters more than any words you could ever say. Not arrogance, not performance, not the loud kind of confidence that fills rooms and demands attention. The quiet kind, the kind that says, I know who I am, I know what I bring. And I don't need your validation to feel secure in that. That kind of confidence is magnetic to women, not because it's impressive, but because it's stable, and stability is the foundation of everything she's looking for. Your non-reactivity matters deeply. When she pulls back and you don't panic. When she goes quiet and you don't flood. When she tests the edge of your patience and you don't crumble or lash out. That non-reactivity speaks louder than any grand gesture. It tells her, this man has emotional depth. This man can hold tension without breaking. This man won't make my emotions a burden. And women are drawn to that. Deeply, instinctively, in ways they don't always have words for. Your ability to lead naturally is the final piece. Not controlling, not directing, not telling her what to do. Leading, gently, clearly, with intention. Making a decision when the moment calls for it, taking initiative without being asked, setting a direction without needing permission. That kind of leadership feels like safety to her. It tells her, I don't have to carry everything. I don't have to manage this. I can relax into this and trust that he'll meet me where it matters. She speaks when she feels safe. That's the entire truth. She won't say it first, but she will show it first. And your job isn't to force words. Your job is to notice behavior. Calm men don't need confession. They recognize intention. They see the way she shows up. They see the way she invests. They see the way she softens and stays and opens and leans in. And they don't need her to say it out loud to know what's happening. They already know, because they learned to read the silence. And the silence told them everything. If you want to understand attraction beyond words, subscribe to Lies Unmasked. This is where the truth lives. Not the loud truth. Not the dramatic truth, the quiet truth, the one that changes how you see everything. When patterns finally start making sense, when silence becomes clear, come back to Lies Unmasked and tell me thank you. Subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.